What's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be tying a fly called a wired prince. It's a nice little pattern for steelhead. That's why I've been tying them lately, because they're so durable. You can get them down to the rocks and bounce them all along the rocks and not have to worry about much. So I do tie them in a couple different colors I'm going to show you. The main ones I fish right now are orange and this pink one. And also tie them in red, as well as another one that I fish a lot is just an all black, really nice looking fly. So we're gonna get a hook clamped in here in the vise and get started with the tutorial. So the hook I have in the vise right now is a Mustad caddis curved, and this is in a size 8. I like these hooks for these types of bugs just because they have a longer body and they have a bigger hook gap, so it's kind of easier to set the hook on some of these bigger steelhead, but you can tie them on a nymph hook or even a scud hook. The bead I have on there is a 5/32 black nickel bead, and I've just put some wraps of lead wire on there in .015, and what this does, it just adds a little bit more weight, and as well as it keeps the bead centered on the hook shank, so it doesn't tilt when you're tying. The thread I'm going to be using is UTC, 70 denier, and fluorescent pink. And what I like to do first is when I'm starting my tie-in, right where this lead ends, I like to do it one wrap and kind of pull towards the front of the eye, just to make sure that's in there, and it's resting at the very back of the bead. So after that's done, I just like to put a couple wraps over it, just so I know it's not going to go anywhere. Cut out my tag end, turn my hook just like that. Then I'm just going to take some thread wraps down the hook to about a quarter down the bend. We're going to be tying in our first material here, which is a Goose Biot. It's a pink, fluorescent pink. I'm trying to find the package here, show you guys what it looks like. Oh, so it's a stripped Goose Biot from Hairline. These are in a fluorescent pink, and they also come in a really cool fluorescent orange. I just came across these recently. I've been looking for these forever, and I finally found a shop that has them, so I've been tying a lot of flies with them lately. So we're going to tie in our tail section here. And you can tie these in one at a time or both in at the same time. I like to tie them in one at a time just so I can get my desired length and angle, because I like to put them on a little bit of a down angle. I think it looks better on some of these nymphs when you're tying on a curved hook. So I'm just going to tie these in so they're splaying away from each other. And I'll show you what I'm talking about here once I bind these down a little bit. Just so they're like that. And as far as the length goes, I like to just keep them about the size of the hook point. So what I'm going to do now is just bring my thread back up to the back of the lead that I tied in. I'm going to try to bring these biots up with it just to build up some of the body. We're just going to cut these butts out. Just smooth this out a bit. Now you can put your hook back up straight. Just trying to get these splayed out a little bit more here. Just like that. Now for the body, we're going to be using a wire. And this is a UTC Ultra Wire. This is in a fluorescent pink. And this is in a size small. And you can get 2 pieces. You can use 2 pieces if you want to go faster. I'm just going to get one piece about 9 inches. I'm going to tie it on the side of the hook facing towards me. Let's bring that all the way down. to the end of the body. And now I'm just going to build up a little underbody here. It's really important to remember to keep your thread wrap smooth under here so the wire can lay flat and not be all bumpy. But I just like to build up a little tapered body underneath here. I think it looks good. Smooth it all out. Okay, once you get back up to your original tie-in point, I like to just do a little 3 or 4 turn whip finish here, just so when I'm doing the body, I know my thread isn't going to jump around anywhere. So the first turn of this body is probably the most crucial and most important, because everyone after that lays behind it, and you want it to be just a little bit up past the thread. You want to have a little bit of thread showing there. So all I'm doing now is just bringing my wire up. If you do have a little gap, you can just get your nail, kind of just slide it down a bit, and it'll push it all together. But if you have a pretty smooth underbody, then it should go up pretty smooth. Look pretty good. The more prep you do underneath, the better of a fly you're gonna get out of the end product. So I'm just polymering this thread up, or I mean this wire up, sorry. And when you're doing this, you almost want to push back on the last kind of thread. Like, see how my fingers kind of just almost like going to the back, and it just follows the last wrap right over. So you want to come up to about a bead's length behind the back of the bead. You just want to tie this off here. Some nice tight wraps. Then you can just helicopter the rest of the wire out. Clean that up a bit. Now we're going to tie in our wing section. And the wing's going to be the exact same biot in the pink. You're just going to tie these in as you would just a regular Prince Nymph. You just almost want to make an X on top of the thread wraps here. And as far as the length of these go, I like to keep them right about to the end of the body. So when they come down, they're going to sit right about here. You can see on my needle there, sit right about there. Doesn't have to be perfect. That's just a general guideline that I like to stick by. After you get those tied down pretty decent, you want to come in and cut the butts out. Kind of just clean that up again. And for the collar or the thorax here, I'm using 2 different types of dubbings. One's an ice dub UV fluorescent hot pink, and the other one's a ice dub and UV pearl. And all I do is just get a little clump of the pink, then a little clump of the UV pearl, just like that. And I'll just get them in my hand just like this. And I'll just mix it up a bit. I think the white fibers from the pearl, I just like how it looks. So I'm just kind of breaking these up, just pulling them apart like this, back together. I think it's easiest to just do it in your hands if you're doing little bits. So now we're just going to dub this onto the thread here. Make a nice little bushy collar. One more little pinch. Now you can just snip out any of the stray fibers here. Now you're going to grab your whip finish tool, do a 4 or 5 turn whip finish. I like to do another 4 or 5 turn whip finish for steelhead just because it's better to be safe than sorry. Just going to do one more 3. And build up a little collar on that guy. So there you have it. The wired prints. You can tie these in all different kinds of colors. It's a really good nymph for steelhead if you're into steelhead fishing. I want a nice durable fly. Look no further. It's a nice little guy. Hope you liked today's video, guys. Give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't yet. And we'll see you in the next one.